Let's now begin to learn about some of the theoretical frameworks at the foundation of prevention science. We are starting first with the etiology model. By a show of hands, how many of you have heard of the etiology model before? I know, I hadn't heard of this model either before doing this very project. There's a lot going on here, so let me simplify this model. We call this the etiology model. And what does this model tell us? When we are born, we have our own biological and physiological characteristics that shape how we behave and how we interact with our environments. In positive environments, we are enabled to achieve our developmental goals. And in negative environments, we're not always successful in those achievements. We are born into both micro and macro level environments. The micro environment consists of those that are immediate or what we call proximal to us, like our parents, our family. As we get older, the micro environment includes our school, our peers, and even our workplaces. Beyond the micro environment is the larger community, the neighborhood, even society. This is what we think of as the macro level environment. These influences include socioeconomic factors, social and cultural norms, the built environment, and even climate change. The interactions between and across these environments can be positive and result in our development and growth into productive adults. But it can also be negative, resulting in stressors and possibly our engagement in potentially harmful behaviors and lifestyles. Let's take a deeper look and see how these various interactions take place. They're all two-headed arrows, and let me explain how they work. Let's look at the first bidirectional arrow, number 1. For example, let's say a child is born with what psychologists call a difficult temperament, meaning they have difficulty adjusting to the world around them. They may be fussy and demand attention. If parents are not able to cope with this child, there's a strong possibility the child will continue to have problems dealing with new environments as they grow older, such as in school or with their peers or in the workplace. However, if parents develop the skills appropriate to support this child, their potential for easier adjustment in these settings is enhanced. Or let's say a middle-aged adult is laid off from work after 25 years. They may be unprepared for this sudden change of life situation. And without support from an employer in seeking other work or transitioning into retirement, may become more likely to experience mental health problems, including the misuse of alcohol or other psychoactive substances. Pause the video here and discuss some other examples of this interaction between the individual and micro-level environment. Now, let's look at the next arrow, arrow number 2, which is also another two-headed arrow. The social and cultural environment shapes our norms, influences, and beliefs around the risks and consequences related to substance use, adult misuse, and how we deal with stressful situations. How a community enforces laws or regulations has an impact on how we assess the tolerance or approval of behaviors, such as alcohol consumption or substance use amongst children and youth. Think back to the COVID-19 pandemic, where stay-at-home regulations and requirements or loss of work or the threat of illness or even death produced tremendous challenges to daily life. We saw reported increases in substance use during this time and decreases in overall mental health and well-being. It's additionally important to remember the influence of climate change on overall health and well-being. Prevention professionals are beginning to think more about this connection here. It's likely in the future that prevention professionals will be called to utilize evidence-based interventions and policies to help groups deal with the impact of climate change on physical, emotional, and the social health of communities. Now, if this topic is of special interest to you, there are resources from APSI and the CDC on this topic. Pause the video here and discuss some of the other examples of the interaction between individual and macro level environments. How have you seen the macro level environment impact personal characteristics in your community? Finally, let's look at the third arrow, another two-sided arrow. This suggests that what happens in the macro level environment can impact the micro level environment. For instance, there are many situations where economic deprivation and unemployment impacts parenting and how they parent their children. But we can think of other examples. They don't always have to be negative. A positive example would be one where regulations that restrict the minimal purchase age of alcohol sends a message to parents and young people that alcohol consumption is not healthy for children and adolescents. Here are some general examples of the macro level environment and how it can interact with the micro level environment. Situations where job loss or health issues impact parenting. Deteriorating neighborhoods where there's more empty houses and issues of safety. A changing catchment area for school requiring a young person to attend another school and maybe lose friends. Changes in lighting in a neighborhood and renovations of a local playground that end up providing engaging opportunities for health and safety of the residents. Or changes in climate that impact food production and the quality of life. The etiology model helps us see the big picture of all the influential factors at play that impact our health and wellness in a number of ways.